まだ隠してやがったか。噛みちぎりかゆ責任エスカバー魔の神とやら人間に見下される気分はどうだ。
I didn't want to say anything while the scene was playing, just out of respect for the anime, for the manga. But this video is about the Holy War Festival update, part 1. You've got your special missions for things for you to complete. You'll get a Holy War Festival draw ticket times 10. You have a lucky box event, which is basically some form of a lottery or a bingo. You just press the button to make the draws or to take the turns, and it shows you how to get tickets. You have Hawk's Awesome Card event, which is again another type of lottery or bingo. You just flip cards until you find the special reward. Each card flip usually gives you something in return. They have things you can purchase using real world money, blah, blah, blah. They have a Diamond Perks event. So for each milestone of diamonds consumed in game, you'll get something in return. They have a buff event. You can see the buffs here. Equipment Salvage, Hero Enhance, and Player Rank EXP. Those are all the buffs they have. They also too have a special draw going on. You can use diamonds or those special tickets. They have a few other draws that are going on as well. Some of them are returning. Let's see here. I think that's pretty much it for the Holy War Festival Part 1 update. I mean, there's a few other things that are going on as well. I mean, they have an event, the growth event, that's pretty much every other week, every other update. They also too have the where is it? They have this time attack, which is carrying over from the last update. They've released new story episodes. So I'm currently on episode 34, or the new story. They're finishing out a story chapter, so that's going on. Let's see here. There's also too a battle event, which again is pretty much standard for every other update as well. So you could do the rules of the deadly sins too. So that's pretty much all that's going on for this Holy War Festival update. Now, the thing that I want to talk about that is of personal interest to me is the story. If you can replay or rewind the video, but Netmarble, they have the capacity to be faithful to the one Escanor as he was presented in the anime and manga. And it's because this story reveals that, it just solidifies my lack of respect for the unfaithfulness to the one Escanor in the version that they released to the players to acquire to use in-game for player versus player content and player versus environment content. That incarnation or that version of Escanor is not faithful to anime and manga. And that's the reason why I don't really have any real respect for that version of the Escanor. That's the one, again, in the heroes list. Where is he? If I can find him, I don't have him. It's this guy. It's like his eyes, they're not on fire properly. It's like they're blue with a tinge around them of some type of orangey tinge that fluctuates. And it just makes him look like he's crazed and diseased. He looks like a villain. He looks like a zombie. He has zombie eyes. And it's like, what, I'm just saying to myself, what is that? That's garbage. It's not what they presented in the anime and manga. And so, I just wanted to, for me personally, I just wanted to point that out after watching the story and seeing his eyes being properly put on fire. Even when showing, like, even it was acceptable, like during the battle when his eye had a little pupil, but the rest of it was flame. And then even, I believe they also too did it in the anime and the manga, that when he's like looking down at Meliodas, like speaking down to him after he defeated him, his eyes are like just unchecked on fire. Like the pupil of his eyes are just completely unchecked flames. I believe that's why it was in the anime manga as well. And that was a faithful representation. That's what I want to see, and they just did not do that with this version of the Escanor. So that was a personal thing I wanted to talk about in relation to the story. The other thing I wanted to talk about in relation to the story is, the story is like the main reason to become invested into the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross mobile game. Now, with me saying that, I've come to learn that there's a lot of players who are not experiencing the story. They, because of, some of the practices that Netmarble is doing, they're making it hard for people to gain access to the story due to the high combat clash rating that you need. So that was the main reason why I wanted to show that scene from the story in the mobile game, is because I know that there's quite a few people that may not be able to get to see it because they don't have the teams to meet the combat clash rating. And to really highlight what I'm saying, they go to create fights in the story to where you need to have 3 required heroes. And the heroes that are required may not be the heroes that a player has chosen to build to the point to where they can meet 177,300, combat clash rating. So to me, that's like, I feel like this is something Netmarble could do better at, to make the story more accessible to the players. Because again, this is the main reason why one would become invested into playing this 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross mobile video game. Now, another thing that I want to talk about is just the 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross mobile video game in and of itself. I mean, the game is just a normal gacha game. You got some business with overwhelmingly greedy business tactics and exploitive in-game mechanics to try to take advantage of players. I mean, that's something a player could experience from any gacha game. If it wasn't for the story and how faithful they are in adapting the anime and manga to the story of the anime and manga to their mobile video game when they present the story through the story chapters, I mean, a lot of people would just abandon this game. It's like the story is the main reason why you want to become invested. Otherwise, Netmarble is just running the game into the ground with their overwhelmingly greedy business tactics and their exploitive in-game mechanics to try to take advantage of players. Again, now with the story, this high combat clash rating, forcing a lot of people to try to build out heroes just so they can follow along, the contrived overwhelming difficulty for boss battles, the just giving all the enemy NPCs all the advantages in their in-game content, just overall generally just making fights unfair. And it's like, you don't need to be playing Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross to have that experience. You can have that experience anywhere. And so again, if it wasn't for the story, or if they were to handle the story poorly in adapting it, a lot of people would just abandon this game. And now the last thing that I will talk about in relation to the story is this is the one area where Netmarble continues to do well, is adapting the anime and manga to their mobile video game. I mean, just the quality of detail that they put into their animations and into telling the story in the video game is just very well done. You could tell that the people, the development team or the creative team, they're invested in the work that they're doing and they want to do a good job. I mean, if you pay attention to a lot of the motion capturing, it's very well done. If you pay attention to a lot of like the gestures and behaviorisms of the characters, they capture a lot of minute detail. Like for instance, when after Meliodas does his 1000 divine cuts, if you look at the facial expression of Escanor when he looks back up and the little smirk that he gets on his face, and just the detail or the fluidness of going from one facial countenance to the next facial countenance, and from one body language expression to the next body language expression, they capture these little moments that that gives like a little bit of a telling to who these characters are, what they're about, just their personalities, or where they are in their state of mind or emotionally, mentally at the time. They just do a well job capturing that minute detail. And these are the things that add the mark of quality to work done. And again, this helps to go to make the adaptation of the story the adaptation of the Seven Deadly Sins anime manga to the Seven Deadly Sins Grand Cross movie game. It helps to make that a very well done job by Netmarble's development and creative team. So I just wanted to take a little bit of time to give a continual kudos for the story. I mean, I try to follow along with the story, and I generally say the same thing. That's because they continue to handle the adaptation of the story well. So that's pretty much it for this video. I try my best to keep it short, but I always fail. It's just too much to talk about or too many things to point out, and I have to give a lot of information, or at least reference to where I'm pulling it from. But that's pretty much it for this update. Now I have to go back and complete the story for myself. I'm currently on episode 346, so I've got 4 more episodes to go.